Welcome back to Motivation Speech by Myron Golden. Before you grab your phone, before the stress hits, say this. Because what you speak, you believe. And what you believe, you become. Repeat after me. Let these words sink in. Say them every morning and watch your life transform. What you say to yourself each morning isn't just idle talk. It's a direct line to your subconscious mind. From the moment you wake up, your brain starts processing your internal dialogue, whether it's positive, neutral, or negative. These thoughts, often habitual and unnoticed, start to frame how you feel about the day ahead, how you interact with others, and how you perform in every area of your life. It all begins with the words you speak. Language is more than just communication. It's a creative force. Your words literally begin shaping your reality by reinforcing what you believe about yourself and the world around you. If you start your day thinking, I can't do this, or nothing ever works out for me, your mind will seek confirmation of those thoughts. It will scan your environment for situations and people that affirm your internal beliefs. Over time, this creates a cycle where negative thoughts produce negative outcomes, and those outcomes reinforce your belief in the negativity. On the other hand, speaking powerful, positive words each morning plants different seeds. When you begin your day by saying, I am capable, today will be productive, or I attract good things into my life, your mind begins to operate from a place of confidence and expectancy. Instead of being on the defensive, trying to survive the day, you're on the offensive, ready to shape it, influence it, and lead it. This shift may seem small, but it accumulates. Day after day, morning after morning, your words condition your mindset, which then influences your actions, behaviors, and results. Science backs this up. Research in cognitive psychology has shown that positive affirmations can reduce stress, increase problem-solving skills, and even improve physical performance. When spoken with intent and belief, your affirmations become instructions for the brain. They help build new neural pathways that support empowerment, not fear. This isn't just about reciting empty phrases. It's about choosing language that reflects who you want to be and how you want to live. Your words act like a compass, pointing your thoughts and emotions in the direction you want to go. Over time, they reprogram the way you see yourself and how you handle challenges. If you repeatedly tell yourself you're resilient, you start facing adversity with more courage. If you affirm that you're focused and disciplined, you're more likely to act in alignment with those qualities. The key is repetition and emotion. The more you say something with feeling, the more your subconscious accepts it as truth. Your mind doesn't always distinguish between what's real and what's repeated with conviction. That's why even small, consistent verbal affirmations can produce major internal shifts. Also, morning is a powerful time to do this because your brain is transitioning from theta to alpha brain waves, a state that makes it more receptive to suggestion. This window is brief but extremely influential. Whatever you speak into your mind during this time has a stronger chance of being absorbed and carried through the day. That's why affirmations spoken in the morning can often feel more powerful than those said later. You're setting your mental and emotional thermostat for everything that follows. Think of it like setting the direction before a journey. If your words steer you toward possibility, growth, and purpose, that becomes the theme of your day. You're not waiting to be inspired. You are becoming your own source of motivation and clarity. Consistency is one of the most underestimated forces in personal transformation. Most people look for dramatic breakthroughs, sudden motivation, or once-in-a-lifetime opportunities to change their lives. But the truth is, real change doesn't happen overnight. It's built through small, repeated actions that stack up over time. When you speak affirmations every single morning, even when you don't feel like it, even when your mood is low or your situation hasn't changed yet, you're reinforcing a mindset of growth, faith, and discipline. You're creating momentum, not just emotionally, but neurologically. The brain responds to repetition. Neural pathways become stronger the more they are activated. This is known as neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself based on repeated thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. By saying the same positive affirmations every morning, you are physically shaping your brain to think in a new way. Think of it like carving a new path through a dense forest. The more often you walk that path, the clearer and easier it becomes. At first, it might feel awkward or forced to say, I am confident, or I am worthy of success, especially if you don't fully believe it yet. But that's exactly why consistency matters. It's not about whether you feel different after one morning. It's about what happens after 100 mornings of speaking the same truth over yourself. Many people quit this process too early. They try affirmations for a day or two, maybe even a week, and when they don't see a dramatic change, they assume it doesn't work. But that's like going to the gym 3 times and expecting a 6-pack. The mind, like the body, needs time to adapt. It needs steady, repeated effort. And what you say to yourself consistently becomes your identity. If you speak confidence, you begin to embody confidence. If you speak strength, you start to notice your resilience in the face of challenges. It's not magic, and it's not just positive thinking. It's deep internal training. Every time you say your morning affirmations, you're teaching yourself how to think, how to show up, and how to choose your direction instead of letting the world choose it for you. There is also something deeply grounding about beginning your day with intention. When your mornings start with conscious, positive self-talk, you interrupt the unconscious patterns that often run your life. You're no longer reacting to whatever mood, thought, or anxiety shows up first. Instead, you are responding with purpose. This consistency doesn't just improve your mindset, it influences your actions. You make better choices. You treat yourself and others with more respect. You become more focused on solutions rather than problems. And all of this begins not with some huge external change, but with a few sentences you commit to saying each day. It's also important to recognize that consistency builds self-trust. Every time you follow through on your morning affirmations, you're keeping a promise to yourself. You're proving that your words matter, that you matter. Over time, this builds a quiet confidence that doesn't depend on circumstances or validation. You're no longer waiting to feel motivated. You're becoming a person who shows up regardless of the feeling. This level of consistency becomes a foundation that other habits can build upon. Whether it's eating better, exercising, learning something new, or pursuing your goals, it all begins with how consistent you are with the basics. And nothing is more basic or more powerful than the words you say to yourself at the start of each day. Mornings are not just the beginning of your day. They are a mental reset, a clean slate that holds the power to influence everything that follows. The moment you wake up, your mind is transitioning from the dream state into conscious awareness. In those first few minutes, your brain operates in slower brainwave states, typically theta and alpha, which are highly receptive and suggestible. This is the same state your mind enters during deep meditation or hypnosis. Whatever you expose your mind to during this time, thoughts, emotions, sounds, or words, has a deeper impact because the filters of conscious resistance are still down. That's why the way you spend your morning is not just about routine, it's about programming. Most people don't realize how powerful this window is. They roll out of bed, reach for their phone, and start scrolling. Social media, news, messages, and alerts flood the brain with noise, urgency, and emotional stimulation before it's even fully awake. Without realizing it, they've handed control of their mindset to outside sources. But the morning doesn't have to start that way. It can become your most sacred, powerful time to influence your mindset, your emotions, and your direction. And one of the simplest, most effective ways to use this time is through intentional self-talk, speaking words that align with who you want to become and how you want your day to unfold. When you use affirmations in the morning, you're not just saying nice things to feel better. You're planting thoughts that take root in your subconscious. You're giving your brain instructions. If you tell yourself, I am focused and calm, your brain will start to filter information and respond to situations in a way that aligns with that command. If you start the day saying, I welcome abundance, your mind will begin to notice opportunities that it might have ignored before. This isn't wishful thinking. It's the way your brain's filtering system, called the reticular activating system, RAS, works. It pays attention to what you've told it is important. So if you feed it negativity, fear, or defeat first thing in the morning, that's what it will look for throughout the day. If you feed it strength, gratitude, and belief, that's what it will focus on instead. Morning affirmations act like a compass for your inner world. They give direction to your thoughts, emotions, and reactions before the world has a chance to shape them for you. And the more consistently you engage in this practice, the more control you gain over your internal state. This doesn't mean you won't face stress, setback, or chaos during the day. It means you're starting from a stronger, more centered place. You're responding to life rather than reacting to it. And that difference can be everything. Another reason the morning is so critical is because it often determines the emotional momentum of your day. Just like a stone dropped into water creates ripples, your first thoughts and words in the morning send waves throughout your entire day. If you start with clarity, intention, and positive focus, you're more likely to carry that energy into your interactions, your work, and your decision making. On the other hand, if you start in a rush filled with stress, doubt, or self-criticism, that energy tends to follow you too. The morning sets the tone, and once that tone is set, it can be difficult to shift. Even a short, intentional morning ritual involving affirmations can make a significant difference. A few moments of stillness, of speaking truth and possibility into your mind, can create a buffer between you and the noise of the world. It becomes a way to reclaim ownership of your mindset before anyone else has a chance to influence it. This daily reset gives you power, not just over how you feel, but over how you act, how you lead, and how you shape your life moment by moment. Many people wake up with a sense of heaviness, anxiety about the future, regrets from the past, or stress about what the day might bring. This mental noise becomes the first thing they listen to, and without meaning to, they allow it to dictate their mindset before their day has even begun. Negative thoughts, left unchallenged, grow louder and more convincing. Over time, they shape how a person sees themselves, what they believe they deserve, and what they think is possible for them. Morning affirmations offer a powerful way to interrupt that pattern. They act as a shield and a reset, replacing fear with faith, worry with intention, and doubt with clarity. When you wake up and immediately speak something positive into your day, something strong, encouraging, and rooted in truth, you create a break in the cycle of negativity. You stop the automatic replay of limiting beliefs and instead begin to install new thoughts that lead to more empowered outcomes. The human brain naturally has a negativity bias, a built-in tendency to focus on problems, threats, and what could go wrong. This bias might have helped early humans survive danger, but today it often makes people overly cautious, self-critical, and fearful. That's why intentional self-talk is so important. It balances out the bias and helps shift your internal focus towards solutions, gratitude, and self-belief. Affirmations don't ignore reality. They influence it. They are not about pretending everything is perfect. They're about choosing to focus on what you can control, what you want to become, and how you want to experience the day. Saying, I am calm and in control when you feel overwhelmed isn't lying to yourself. It's reminding yourself of a better option. It's steering your mind back to a state of power rather than letting it spiral into helplessness. The brain is always listening, always adapting to the thoughts and words you feed it. And when you speak affirmations with repetition and intention, your brain begins to accept them as new truths. These positive statements become mental anchors. When the challenges of the day come, and they always do, your mind is more prepared. You've already laid the groundwork by speaking words that strengthen your resilience, your focus, and your sense of worth. Instead of reacting out of fear or stress, you respond from a place of inner grounding. You've already told yourself, I handle challenges with grace, or I stay calm under pressure, so your actions begin to follow the pattern your mind has rehearsed. This practice doesn't just change your mood. It changes your identity. Over time, you stop simply saying affirmations and start believing them. You begin to embody them. You stop questioning whether you're worthy, and instead you start living like someone who is. You stop doubting your ability, and instead you begin to show up with confidence and courage. That shift in belief changes your energy, and your energy changes your results. People respond to your confidence. Opportunities feel more accessible. Life starts to reflect the mindset you've chosen to build. Replacing negative thinking isn't a one-time event. It's a daily practice. It requires you to take control of your inner conversation every single morning. Affirmations become the tool you use to do that. They're not always flashy or dramatic, but they are powerful. A few simple words spoken with consistency and belief can help you take charge of your mental state before the rest of the world has a chance to influence it. This is why morning affirmations are not just motivational quotes. They are acts of mental discipline, emotional hygiene, and personal leadership. What you speak to yourself becomes the foundation of your inner identity. The words you repeat daily shape not only how you feel, but how you think, how you act, and ultimately who you become. Every I am statement you say carries weight even when you don't realize it. When you say, I am tired, I am broken, or I am not enough, you are reinforcing a version of yourself that continues to manifest more of the same. The brain listens to these messages, and over time, it builds a framework around them. It begins to filter your experiences through the lens of those words, searching for evidence to support the identity you've claimed. This process happens automatically, which is why it's so important to be intentional with the language you use. Positive affirmations are more than motivational lines. They are declarations of the person you are becoming. When you say, I am strong, I am worthy, or I am growing, you're not pretending to be something you're not. You're making a conscious decision to align your identity with the truth of your potential rather than the limitations of your past. The mind is a powerful servant, and it follows the instructions you give it. By choosing your words carefully, you're programming your inner world to reflect what you want to see in your outer world. This is not a passive process. It takes awareness, repetition, and emotion. Repetition is how you train the brain to accept new beliefs. Just like learning a new skill or building muscle, forming a new mental identity takes consistent effort. The more you affirm a thought with belief and emotion, the deeper it is impressed on your subconscious. And once it's rooted there, it begins to influence your behavior automatically. You no longer have to force yourself to act confident, focused, or disciplined because you've trained your mind to identify with those qualities. They've become a natural part of who you are. Your self-image determines your actions. People do not rise to the level of their goals. They fall to the level of their identity. If deep down you see yourself as a failure, you will unconsciously sabotage success. If you believe you are unworthy of love or happiness, you will push away the very things that could bring you joy. But when you shift your internal story, when you begin to speak differently to yourself, you start to live differently. Affirmations help you rewrite the story. They give you the power to speak who you want to be until it becomes who you are. There's also a physical response to this process. When you speak words of empowerment, your body reacts, your posture changes, your energy shifts. Your emotional state elevates. Saying, I am confident while standing tall and breathing deeply has a very different effect than mumbling it with your shoulders slouched and your mind distracted. The way you speak your affirmations matters. They are not meant to be empty or robotic. They are meant to be spoken with conviction, as if your life depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. The difference between someone who thrives and someone who stays stuck is often rooted in the story they tell themselves every day. It's not about external circumstances, talent, or luck. It's about what's being said in the quiet moments, especially first thing in the morning. That inner voice becomes the guide, the coach, and sometimes the critic. Affirmations help you turn that inner voice into an ally rather than an enemy. They give you a new script, one that aligns with growth, strength, peace, and purpose. The more you speak these truths into your life, the more natural they become. You begin to carry yourself differently. You start making decisions that align with your new identity. And those decisions over time shape your reality. Simplicity is often overlooked in a world obsessed with complexity. People are constantly searching for the next big idea, the breakthrough method, or the secret shortcut to transform their lives. Yet, some of the most powerful changes come from practices that are simple, accessible, and easy to repeat. Morning affirmations fall into this category. You don't need special equipment, a perfect environment, or hours of free time. All you need is your voice, your presence, and a few minutes of quiet focus. Despite how simple this act may seem, its impact can be profound when it's done with intention and consistency. When people think of changing their lives, they often imagine major life overhauls, moving to a new city, quitting a job, starting a business, or going through a complete lifestyle transformation. These big changes can be powerful, but they can also be overwhelming, especially if someone doesn't feel emotionally or mentally prepared. Affirmations, on the other hand, offer a way to begin shifting your internal reality before your external world catches up. They meet you where you are in whatever season or situation you're in and give you the ability to start changing your perspective from the inside out. It's a way to take control without needing anything outside of yourself. There's something deeply empowering about realizing that your transformation doesn't depend on anyone else. You don't have to wait for validation, approval, or permission to speak life over yourself. You can choose to affirm your strength, your peace, your purpose, and your worth at any time. This is why affirmations are so accessible and powerful. They are a daily practice of self-leadership, of choosing your mindset before the world has a chance to choose it for you. It costs nothing to look in the mirror and say, I am capable. But the return on that investment can be life-changing. This simplicity also makes affirmations sustainable. Complex rituals and high-effort routines often fall apart when life gets busy or stressful. But a few minutes of speaking truth into your day is something anyone can do, regardless of their schedule or circumstances. Whether you're in a quiet room or standing in a crowded bathroom, whether you feel energized or exhausted, affirmations can become a daily anchor. And because the practice is simple, it's easier to stick with over time. The more consistent you are, the more impact it creates. Small daily actions, repeated over weeks and months, shape long-term results. This is the quiet power of a simple habit. Affirmations also simplify the mental clutter that often fills the morning hours. Instead of letting your mind spiral into stress, worry, or disorganization, you can begin your day with clarity and focus. A few clear, empowering statements can cut through the noise and center your attention on what matters. They act as a filter, allowing you to approach the day from a grounded place rather than a scattered one. And because the words are your own, they carry more weight. You're not just listening to someone else's motivation, you're creating your own. Another aspect of this simplicity is the emotional connection you form with the practice. When you strip away distractions and speak directly to yourself, there's an honesty and intimacy that develops. You begin to hear your own voice as a source of encouragement rather than criticism. You stop waiting for the world to build you up and start doing it yourself. This shift is subtle but powerful. Over time, you start to believe in the strength of your own words. Your self-talk becomes kinder, more supportive, and more aligned with the person you want to be. It's often the simplest tools that create the deepest change. A short phrase spoken each morning might not seem like much at first, but those words become the foundation of a new mindset. They shape how you think, how you act, and how you handle everything that comes your way. The beauty of affirmations lies in their accessibility and their power. They're always available to you, and they never run out,